Let's take a look at one of the most commonly encountered set of fears, one that in fact you are most apt to encounter, if you haven't already, when introducing Hyperionism to those whose programming is mired in traditional religious constructs: the fear of change and of the unknown. It has been said that the most destructive force against human progress isn't natural disasters, disease, or global warming. It is our fear of the unknown, and that very well may be the case. We've all experienced some kind of fear or resistance to change. It seems to be hardwired into the survival instinct, which makes a certain amount of sense as far as continuation of a species. However, it is when it kicks into overdrive outside of those narrow parameters and becomes irrational that we run into trouble. Generally speaking, when encountering something different or unknown, we tend to act in accordance with pre-existent ideas and notions, looking to beliefs and assumptions about circumstances we have either directly encountered in the past or that we fear experiencing in the present or future. Psychologically, when we haven't put ourselves into a situation before, it can be difficult to envision ourselves moving successfully through it. However, we must do exactly that if we are to progress in any fashion. Fear of change takes many forms in itself. Some of these are complacency, resistance, frustration, avoidance, denial, boredom, and even grief. Fear of change can be mentally, emotionally, and physically debilitating. I'm sure most of us have encountered people who seem to be stuck in place. They are miserable and in intolerable situations, yet they seem unwilling to do anything to change them. When the fear of change, or fear of the unknown, takes hold, the familiar, even if that familiar is detrimental to one's well-being, seems preferable in contrast. The founder of analytical psychology, Carl Jung, considered the process of individuation, that is, the integrating opposites while still maintaining their autonomy, necessary for a person to become whole. Fear and courage, motivation and discouragement, confidence and insecurity are all but two sides of a single coin. However, as we discuss the nature of fears and how to overcome them, it's important to remember that fear is ultimately a projection-based deterrent. It is also important to keep in mind that fears don't just pop into existence. They come from somewhere. Most fears stem from a past event, experience, or notion, and once you identify that thing and what it is that prompted the birth of that fear, you are able to diminish the fear's power over you. You can choose to, if you want, to disown it. It is no longer some elusive force that has attached itself to you. It has a name, a birthplace, and a discernible form. And so, in summary, for many of us, the number one fear behind making a change in our lives is the fear of the resulting unknown. That is the complications that may or may not accompany that change. It is only through confronting the fear head-on, with much at stake, that one can overcome that fear in pursuit of something bigger and more meaningful. Whenever you feel resistance to change, whether it's in your relationships, your living situation, or your personal endeavors, look inside and examine to see exactly what fear is there that is hindering your ability to move forward. Ask yourself, where did that fear stem from? Where did that idea that you can't do it come from? And most importantly, why do you believe it? Your vision will come clear only when you look into your heart. Those who look outside dream. Those who look inside awaken. According to Jung, what prevents people from becoming autonomous, fulfilled, and ultimately happy is their refusal to open themselves up to experiences that are new and unfamiliar, and thus potentially threatening to their sense of self. As Jung sees it, People desire a life that is safe, uncomplicated, familiar, and in many respects unchanging. But such a life is ultimately constricting. It forecloses the possibility of learning and evolving, and thus of developing a wider and higher consciousness.